While most form fields and style options are intuitive, our platform provides a variety of additional settings you can use for more advanced customization options. To access the component settings for an element, hover over it while it is in the form builder. Then click on the gear icon that appears. This settings menu will vary slightly depending on the field you are choosing to modify. However, this menu has a consistent layout regardless of which you choose to edit. These are the basic settings for a text field component. It contains display settings and validation settings. A preview of the component will also appear on the right in real time. First, we have the label. The label is what appears next to the text field on the form. For example, if you are asking for a first name, the label should be titled First Name. Next is the label position. This drop-down allows you to select a new position for the label to appear. It does not need to appear at the above default position. Click through the various options and observe how it changes the appearance in the preview. Then we have the placeholder. This is custom text that will appear in the field by default. This is useful for helping your users understand what they need to enter in the field. Then we have the description. This also allows you to write a small description that appears next to the field. Use this if you want to further qualify the information you wish to obtain in this field. Next we have tooltips. A tooltip is a small hint that appears to users when they hover over the question mark next to the label, just like this. You can write your own tooltips to help users when filling out the form. Then we have prefix. This allows you to add a short word or phrase within the field next to the text entry space. Next we have widget. This allows you some customization over what type of input method you wish to use for this field. A basic text field will be set to input field by default. Experiment with the different options available to see how this affects the functionality of your field. Next we have input mask. An input mask helps ensure that entries in this field follow a predetermined format. For example, asking for a phone number in the standard format of 123 area code 456 7890 is using an input mask. This is generally used for phone numbers, emails, URLs, and so on. Next we have tab indexed. When navigating a web page, you can sometimes navigate through the various elements by simply hitting your tab key. Adding a number to the tab index will determine the order in which a user can tab through the various field options on your form. Next we have checkboxes for hidden and hide label. With hidden, you can hide a field entirely from users by checking this box. Likewise, you can hide the label only by checking Hide Label. Then we have Show Word and Character Counter. Checking either of these boxes will cause a counter to appear below your field for either or words and characters. You may want to enable this if you also set a word or character limit. Then there is Initial Focus. You can check this box to make this field the first field that comes into focus for the user when clicking on the form. Then we have Allow Spell Check. Check this box to provide your users with a built-in spell checking tool to avoid low-quality entries. Finally, you can disable the ability to enter text into this field if necessary for any reason. Now, let's go to validation. First we have Validate On. Selecting an option for this will alert users to incorrect or improper entries. Different options change the way this alert appears. Then we have the Required checkbox. Check this box to require this field for a successful form submission. The next 4 fields refer to maximum and minimum length. These options allow you to set the minimum and the maximum number of characters or words allowed in this field. Further below, there is Regular Expression Pattern. This is an advanced option that allows you to write in a regular expression that ensures that users enter the text within a predefined format. Be sure to look at the article below to learn more about regular expressions from an expert. Then we have Error Label. You can create a custom label that appears over the field when an error occurs. Finally, we have Custom Error Message. An error message can go along with your label and explain to the user what type of error occurred and why. That covers it for basic settings. Now, let's look at another field. Certain fields require a bit more setup and provide you with additional settings that you must adjust before using them within your form. Examples of these would be select boxes, select, or radio components. These new settings appear under the Data tab. The Data menu allows you to create the values users can select when filling out the form. The label is what the users will read as the option, whereas the value is what will appear when you receive the data from the completed form submission. The shortcut key allows you to create a one-letter shortcut to jump to that option in the list. To add more options to your component, click Add Another and repeat the process as necessary. If you need to delete a value, click this X here. When you're finished, be sure to save. We still have one more to show you. Finally, any options that call for a date or time input will feature basic settings for further customization. You can find these in the same settings menu underneath Date and Time. To enable date input, check the box next to Enable Date Input. You can then set a minimum date to ensure that all form entries contain a date that takes place on this date or after. Simply click on the calendar icon and select the date you want to use for this purpose. In the box below here, you can blacklist dates entirely by entering the date in the format year, month, and date. Finally, you can disable weekends or weekdays entirely by checking the box next to these prompts. Next we have time settings. Check this box if you want to enable time input. For time settings, you can customize the increments in which the time selector moves. By default, you generally want your minutes and hours to move by an increment of 1. However, you can adjust this as necessary. Finally, you can set your time selector to be in a 12-hour time as opposed to military time by checking this box. When using the settings in the future, always be sure to refer to the tooltips before using something for a new component.